Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. So for today's vlog, or for today's topic, or chismis, we will tackle the steps and mechanisms of blood coagulation. We all know that coagulation of blood is necessary for human survival when we get slashed, cut, or anything that may affect on our state of bleeding out to death. So without further ado, let us proceed. Effective control of bleeding occurs through a complex process called homeostasis, which will be explained in four basic steps. The basic steps of blood clotting process are vasoconstriction, platelet activation, thrombus formation, and lastly, clot dissolution. First, vasoconstriction is the term used to describe the tightening of the muscle in the blood vessel wall. When an injury occurs, nerves in the tissue surrounding the blood vessel stimulate the muscles of the blood vessel wall to constrict, narrowing the lumen of the vessel and thereby temporarily restricting the blood flow from the wound. And this type of constriction is a type or a variant of negative feedback. Yeah. And second, platelet activation or aggregation. This initial step in blood clotting or coagulation is called platelet activation. As the platelets begin to assemble at the site of the injury, several factors are released from the platelets. One of them, the von Willebrand factor, binds the platelets to the collagen fibers. Several substances are also released from the platelets, including adenosine diphosphate or ADP, which attracts more platelets until a seal is formed over the opening of the blood vessel wall. The clump of platelets is known as the platelet plug. The platelet plug may be sufficient to seal a small vessel. However, in large vessels, the platelet plug is temporary and will be replaced by a thrombus that we will tackle later. The platelet plug does not contain red blood cells, therefore it is sometimes referred as the white thrombus. And for the third clotting or coagulation factor, the thrombus formation. Thrombus formation is a more stable clot called a thrombus. Most must form to make a long-lasting seal on longer injury blood vessels. The thrombus must be able to maintain a seal of damaged blood vessel wall, especially that of an artery, where the blood pressure is higher than in vein, because the arteries are the pumping, while the veins are the receiving, which differentiate them. Yeah, or I'm mistaken. Like the vein receives the oxygenated blood back to the auricle like that. Like while um the call it again, the artery brings out or distributes oxygenated blood to our throughout our system. So let's proceed. The thrombus must be able to maintain a seal on the high damaged blood vessel wall, especially that of an artery where the blood pressure is higher than in vein, even after the blood vessel walls are no longer constricted. Yan. So lastly, the dissolution of clot, also called as the fibrinolysis, occurs when a negative feedback system signals that sufficient healing of blood vessels wall has occurred, and a substance called plasminogen is activated. Plasminogen in its active form is called plasmin. Plasmin signals the clotting mechanisms to inactivate the procoagulant process and begins the anticoagulant process with the use of naturally occurring heparin. It is achieved by digesting the fibrin, which is the main component of the thrombus, the body that then returns to its states of balance called homeostasis. So that's all for the mechanisms and steps of blood coagulation.